how was your experience different than where you grew up? And so this question is more, I guess, mainly focused towards like your disability growing up, but you 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 got diagnosed when you were 19. So I guess however you want to answer the question, I'm gonna ask it again.
Yeah, sure.
How was your experience different than where you grew up?
Oh, there you go. So, like I said before, the reaction is kind of the same regardless of where I am. Like when I first met my host family and I was telling them about it, like the mom was like, "Oh, my colleague has that." I was like, "Great, that's very, very helpful for me to know. Thank you for sharing." Um, so in a way, it wasn't that different, but I mean, like you were saying, I mean, I hadn't been existing as this person for very long before I left. So it is kind of hard to draw comparisons of like before I was there versus once I was there. I mean, it was kind of nice while I was there. Like my life was very relaxed. My student visa doesn't, sorry, he's chewing my notes. My student visa didn't authorize working at all, so I didn't have to worry about going to work. I had all of my medication, so I didn't have to worry about like going to pick it up. How am I going to pay for it since I'm not working and making money? Everything was just kind of already taken care of. So it was kind of like a preview of retirement, I guess. Like I only had class 4 days a week and I just went to museums or like sat at a coffee shop and read books. Like had very leisurely time over there. It was a very welcome break from my life previously.
But did you ever have any moments where you weren't getting the accommodations you needed?
I mean, for me personally, no. Like at the time, I didn't have accommodations at UVA either. So from that regard, I was okay. I could definitely see how it would create problems for other people. Like buildings in France, for example, don't have air conditioning. So I can see how for other people that would create an issue. It was super hot. I got eaten alive by mosquitoes because I had to sleep with the window open. And the windows don't have mesh in them over there. I don't know what the reason for that is, but it allows for very large mosquitoes to come into your room while you sleep. That's okay.
Did you learn anything about your disability while abroad?
One of my big things that I learned had to do with diet. I went during like the French equivalent of fall break. I went on a trip with a couple friends from UVA who were elsewhere in France. So we all met up in Paris, which was a somewhat central location for the three of us. And the one friend I was with was vegan. And I learned very quickly that being vegan is bad for me. So I, you know, on an environmental level, as somebody who understands that like factory farming is bad for the environment, you know, I sympathize with where you're coming from, but for the interest of my health and well-being, I just can't. Like I was eating vegan food for 3 days while I was traveling with that friend. And honestly, like I was probably sicker than I was before I was diagnosed and on any kind of medication at all. So I learned not to be vegan. And then it was sort of nice to have that clean slate with people in terms of like learning how to navigate social relationships going forward. Because none of these people had known me before, like that did kind of help me to figure out how to broach the subject when I get home. Because I hadn't seen my friends at school since the end of spring 2016. So it had been 6 months once you count for the summer. So it's like, how do I interact with these people? How do I navigate social situations? Like I learned to be really blunt with people because people at parties are jerks and they try to force feed you shots and stuff like that. And you have to be like, hey, no, you're being an asshole, if I can say that. It's not appropriate. Like, here's my doctor's note, basically. Like, I don't know if somebody here like had a wheelchair, you wouldn't like force them to climb stairs. Like, not that that's a 100% apples to apples comparison, but like,
Yeah.
you know, like, why do you have to be like this? Sort of learning to do that.
So going more in depth with the vegan thing, like
Mhm.
what exactly were you eating that was vegan food that just was not it? Or what is it that you were missing from a non-vegan diet that is essential?
The issue was like vegetable quantity, basically. So I don't know what it is specifically. I don't want to make assumptions about French people's feelings on vegan diets. Um, they don't view being vegan as like a valid lifestyle choice. Basically, they don't understand. Um, they're like, I kind of get like why you wouldn't eat meat. Like it's inhumane, like killing animals like that. But like, why? Like, what's wrong with butter? Why would somebody not want to eat butter? Um, So basically, that's my way of explaining that vegan restaurants are like 100% vegan. Like you can't go to any restaurant and they have vegan options or anything like that. Um, so my friend's name is Amy. In order to go to a restaurant that Amy could eat at, I'm sorry, the cat is still chewing my notes. Um, right, like any restaurant that Amy could eat at was just 100% vegan food. I'm eating a lot of like quinoa and kale and raw vegetables and chickpeas. And that's just not good when your digestive system is not 100% functional. It's like too much to process, basically.
Okay.
Um, I don't know why. A lot of bread is vegan, and Amy does not eat bread for some reason. She's not gluten intolerant or anything, to my knowledge. She just elects not to eat bread, and I don't know why.